I do not want to draw 95 stickers, so I can subtract. I can subtract because the question asks how many stickers were there before. So I am going to write an algorithm over here. 95 minus 22. 5 minus 2 equals 3. I remember this from my fact families. For example, 5 minus 2 equals 3, and 3 plus 2 equals 5. Now I am going to move on to the tens column. 9 minus 2 equals 7. I remember this from what I have already learned, and I also worked it out in my head. So 9 minus 2 equals 7. And now I have written the answer. The number of stickers there were before Dizzy added his new stickers was 73. I do not have any space to draw the ropes, but I can still work the question out by subtracting. So first I start with the length I know, which is 167 centimeters long. So 167, and the question says Ruby's rope is shorter by 7 centimeters. So I need to subtract the 7 centimeters from 167. So 167 minus 7 equals 160. I know this because I worked the answer out in my head. And now I know the length of Ruby's rope, 160 centimeters long, but my aim is to find out how long Mango's rope is. So the question says Mango's rope is shorter than Ruby's by 5 centimeters. So I need to subtract the 5 centimeters from 160, which will give me the answer. So 160 minus 5. So first we start from the ones column, and we cannot subtract 5 from 0. So we have to borrow 1 from the tens column. So we cross 6 out so we know that it's borrowed, and then we write a 5 because we have subtracted 110 from 6, from the 6. So it becomes 5. And we put the 110 over here. So 10 minus 5 equals 5, so I write a 5. And then we move on to the tens column. And this 6 is no longer a 6, but a 5. So 5 minus the invisible 0 equals 5. And now we move on to the hundreds column. The 100 it hasn't changed. So 100 minus the invisible 0 still is 100. So the length of Mango's rope is 155 centimeters long. Mass in blocks. The banana weighs 5 blocks. The cherries weigh 2 blocks. The watermelon weighs 10 blocks, and the apple weighs 4 blocks. The watermelon is the heaviest item because there is no other item that is heavier than 10 blocks. So I am going to color in the watermelon. And the cherries are the lightest item because there is no other item that is lighter than 2 blocks. So I am going to color in cherries. In question 5, I have to color in 1/2 of each shape. 1/2 means 1 piece out of 2 equal pieces. Though it may seem there are no 2 equal pieces, there are. Here's 1 piece and here's the other. Here's 1 piece of the 2 equal pieces and here's the other. And here is 1 piece of the 2 equal pieces and here is the other. 1/2 also means half. So I am going to color in half of each of these shapes. In question 6, I have to color in 1/4 of each of these shapes. 1/4 means 1 piece out of 4 equal pieces. Over here, this rectangle, it may seem that there are no 4 equal pieces, only 8 pieces, but there are 4 equal pieces. Here's 1, here's another, here's another, and here's the last one. So I need to color in 1 piece out of those 4 equal pieces. And here, I can easily color in 1 out of those 4 pieces. Now in question 7, I have to color in 1/8 of each of these shapes. 1/8 means 1 piece out of 8 equal pieces. One way of mine to see if each of these shapes has 8 equal pieces is to see if 1/2 has 4 pieces and the other half has 4 pieces too. This shape does, and so does this shape, and also this shape. So I can color in 1 piece out of all these 8 pieces. In question 8, I need to write the answers to all these algorithms. For the first one, 37 minus 21, I start from the ones column. 7 minus 1 equals 6. I know this because I have already studied algorithms like these in the past. And now we are going to move on to the tens column. 3 tens minus 2 tens equal 1 10. I know this because I worked it out in my head. So the answer to 37 minus 21 equals 16. And now we are going to move on to a hundreds algorithm. So first I start with the ones column. 8 minus 4 equals 4, and I know this because I remember from my fact families. Fact families are 3 numbers that always belong together. For example, 8 minus 4 equals 4, and 4 plus 4 equals 8. And now I'm going to move on to the tens column. And 5 minus 3 equals 2, and I also know and I also remember this from my fact families. 5 minus 3 equals 2, and 2 minus 3, and 3 minus 2 equals 5. I mean 2 plus 3 and 3 plus 2 equals 5. 2 equals 5. And now the last column, the hundreds column. 100 minus the invisible 0 still equals 100. So the answer to 158 minus 34 equals 124. And now in this hundreds algorithm, 6 minus 5 equals 1, and I remember this from what I have studied in the past. And now we are going to move on to the tens column. 9 minus 4 equals 5, and I remember this from my fact families. 9 minus 4 equals 5, and 5 and 4 plus 5 equals 9. And now the last column, the hundreds column. 4 hundreds minus 100 equals 3 hundreds, and I just remember this from what I have learned in the past. So the answer to 496 minus 145 equals 351. And now in the last hundreds algorithm, 5 minus 3 equals 2, and I just remember this from my fact families, like over here. So 5 minus 3 equals 2, and now we are going to move on to the hundreds column. The tens column. 7 minus 2 equals 5, and I worked this out in my head. And now the last column, the hundreds column. 8 minus 6 equals 2, and I worked this out in my head. So the answer to 875 minus 623 is 252. The difference between 845 and 745 is 100. This rule applies to all these other numbers. So 545 minus 100 equals 445, and 445 minus 100 equals 345, and 345 minus 100 equals 245. The difference between 152 and 149 is 3, and the difference between 149 and 146 is 3, and this rule applies with all these other numbers. So 143 minus 3 is 140. 140 minus 3 equals 137, and 137 minus 3 equals 134. So that is my school for today. In maths, when I did the quiz, I felt like I could really complete it quickly, and I felt proud of myself for finishing the quiz, and I hope I got a 100 out of 100, well, 10 out of 10, and this time doing the quiz, unlike when I did the other quizzes in this book, it actually felt fun, and I am glad it felt fun, and I am glad for doing the quiz, because now I think I have got a 10 out of 10.